the pleasure of introducing now Wendy Walters. You mentioned the Director of Student, Alumni, and Church Relations as she interviews Nicole. So thanks so much, Wendy.
Thank you so much, Charles. I'm so overjoyed almost to be here with you today. Thank you so much for the privilege that it is for a student like me and my fellow student, Nicole, to be truly standing on your shoulders. I was thinking about this week as I walked into our building, actually, and I saw something on the wall. Charles just shared with you the wall that as you walk into our building, and I saw this heart, and it says, "You rock." And I am the one that says that whimsical sort of phrase to my children or to fellow students or classmates, like, "You rock." And I saw this on the wall, and I thought, wow, if there's a whimsical way to say the heartfelt thank you that I sort of want to extend to all of you, it would be that way. You really do rock. And surely what's come through to me as a current student, by the way, I was born in 1972, so I know that ages me, but that gives you perspective on where I was at that time. But from my perspective, what shines through to me is the incredible move of God that happened in and among and through each one of you, your incredible sacrifice, and the amazing way you just lived out your faith. And so I will tell you today, I am so incredibly grateful. I also wanted to say that we're standing on your shoulders. I love how that's a theme of our time together, because I didn't exactly know others were going to say the same thing. But I will also tell you that at Missio today, as I bring this forward to today, there are different faces, certainly, but the same spirit is on the move. And hopefully you've realized that from Charles's presentation as well. But you have built a rock solid foundation for our seminary. I'm even considering you as the pillars, the foundational pillars. And 50 years later, 50 years later, right? God is still on the move in Missio, is calling bold, courageous, spirit-filled men and women, the same as you are, to Missio, to equip them truly as kingdom leaders. So you, as the handful that started, the very important handful, now have grown this Missio family into over 2,000. We have 2,200 alumni from Missio, and those have now impacted tens of thousands. So this kingdom effort that you began is just multiplied. So we do stand on your shoulders today. You rock. You are rocks. And we all know that Jesus Christ is the cornerstone and is the rock for sure. So thank you for that. I am thrilled to announce and to introduce Nicole Showell. She is a fellow classmate, also in the Master of Divinity program with me. She's also a coworker. We both together are the Department of Student, Alumni, and Church Relations. So we get to connect with everybody, and it's such a privilege to do that. Nicole also is an alumni, which is even more exciting. So she graduated in 2007 in the counseling department. And then she came back in 2019 to pursue her Master of Divinity degree. So she falls into every category you can probably think of at Missio. We're so thankful for her. In the meantime, between those two degree programs, she's been very busy as a professional counselor and coach. She's written 2 books, and she's also a motivational speaker. And she just embodies God's love. I just am so thankful for her. So we met. I thought this would be a good God story as we continue to talk about how God moves. We met because we both were serving the Student Advisory Council, and I was an administrative assistant in this department at the time. And we were talking, and Nicole had all of these wonderful ideas to connect alum and student. And I said to Nicole, I said, we have an open position in this department. And I said, I know you're overqualified. I even hesitate to ask, but would you be willing to serve in this department? And I later that day received a phone call from her. So I will let her finish that story. But I will also, Nicole, ask you to jump into sharing too about how Missio prepared you to do what you've already done in following Jesus into the world, and how Missio has helped in that process.
Thanks, Wendy. I appreciate that. And thanks, everyone. It's such a pleasure to see you and to be a part of this amazing reunion. And I feel like I'm almost in one of the most interesting documentaries I've ever seen. And whenever I walk away from a documentary, I have a better understanding of the origin. I have a better or greater appreciation and fondness of what I've learned. And I'm saying I'm experiencing that right now. I feel more connected to Missio than I did 2 hours ago because of meeting you, because of hearing these tremendous stories and the history of Missio Biblical. And even when I was a student in 2004 to 2007, one of the most amazing and tremendous experiences was in Doc Newman's class. And Jesus in the New Testament. Yes, Doc Newman, I share this with everyone I encounter. It was in your class where the Lord revealed to me, in watching a video that you had on Jesus in the New Testament. We were watching the Good Samaritan parable. And it hit me, my spirit, that I don't love like I'm supposed to. And I was sitting in class with tears streaming down my face, just looking at people walk past someone who was in need, someone who needed help, and they crossed the street. They tried to stay away from the person. And I said, I feel that's me. I feel that I will walk past if I see someone in need. And it was at that moment my life changed. And my goal and purpose, I realized, was to love everyone I encounter. So you have been so instrumental in what I do now, that class, the spirit in biblical, the spirit in Missio has really transformed me, and it allows me to love every single day when I go out into the world. That's the thing that's on my mind. That's what I want people to see. I want them to see the love of Jesus. I want them to experience joy. And that started that day in 2005, I believe, in your class. So praise the Lord. Thank you for that. But I use my counseling degree now as a professional counselor. I have my own consulting business where I do executive coaching and advising. And everything that I do stems from loving. Yeah. And that, again, was formed at Biblical. And I can't say that I would be where I am now if I had not experienced that, the love, the spirit formation, the servant heart. And I say all this now, and I'm thinking, wow, what was I like before I entered Biblical? When I hear where I am now, what was I like before that? But thank God, ever since then, that is the way that I've been walking. So I feel that Missio Biblical, not just academically, has prepared me, but they've prepared me to deal with people in corporate America, because my main client is Verizon, and those personalities are very strong. They're very not always loving. But when you go in and you engage with people with a loving heart and a servant's attitude, they change. You see transformation right before your eyes. So not only did that Missio provide me with what I need to be an effective and wise counselor, but how to really change people's hearts through love. And that's what I do every single day. And that's what I owe to the faculty, the staff, the courses, but most importantly, the spirit that is in Missio. That has not changed. And that's why I'm back today, because I knew what I received in 2004 through 2007, it would be the same, that I would go in and I would continue to grow and I would continue to be able to pour out to others and follow Jesus into the world, into what he's called me to do. So I am ever grateful.
Thank you for sharing, Nicole. I've only known you since you've been to Missio, so I feel God's love through you, that's for sure.
Amen.
Is there anything else that you would like to share, Nicole, about what you love about Missio? Or I think we have a picture to share, don't we, as well?
Yes, can you pull that up?
You want me to bring that up?
That was me graduating in 2007, Dr. Dunbar.
All right.
I made sure I got a picture with you on that day too. It was very busy. People were moving all around, but I said, no, I need the picture with you. So thank you, Wendy.
Looks like that graduation was really early in the morning. Timestamp is 5:10 a.m.
Well, you know, technology back then isn't what it is today.
That's so great. Thanks so much for sharing, Nicole. And we have the incredible privilege, as sort of we've mentioned, there's the academic rigor, and there's also this continued sense at the seminary to connect and see students flourish, spiritually, emotionally, and grow in connections and be served and equipped with resources. So we love you, and we love the whole community, and we love serving you. So please always feel free to reach out to us. So in conclusion, for our time together, I just wanted to share a little story. I came 3 years ago. The school was still biblical, and we were still in Hatfield. And I was a former engineer, then homemaker for a good 15 years, and now coming back to seminary. So I came into the classroom, just doubts and fears, knew that God was calling me, but not too sure if I could even make it through the first night of class, nonetheless, one class and a whole degree program. Would my brain wake up again? I wasn't sure. Thankfully, my very first professor in that class was Dr. Dunbar. And I walked into the class, I sat in the chapel in one of those round tables, sort of nervous, like, what is this going to be like? And as soon as you started speaking, Dr. Dunbar, there was this conviction in my spirit that, wow, I'm home. This is God's truth. This is where God is calling me, and I'm so thankful. So I wanted to thank you for that, for sure. I continue to, and again, we taught, that class was spiritual formation and mission. We learned about mission, and we also touched on that spiritual formation part right in the beginning. The silent retreat concept came up. I still turn to that, and the morning prayer you introduced, I just love. But what I'd like to share with you is the second week of class was Dr. Dunbar did remind us this was an extremely important commitment. God is calling us. Don't miss a night of class. And on that second night of class, I'm going to pull my screen up and show you a picture. I came in looking like this. I broke both of my arms that morning, and I was in a double sling. I'm sure I had some sort of Advil in my system to even have a little bit of a smile to the left in the hospital that morning, and then that evening at 5:30 in class. And I know it's a very self-depreciating picture of me, but you can get the sense for the state that I was in. I could not move either arms. My husband did my hair, and my friend Rebecca drove me to class and fed me my Wawa hoagie that night at dinner. By the grace of God, Dr. Dunbar welcomed in not only that guest, but guests for the next 6 weeks when I couldn't drive myself to school. And the move of God was so strong in that time. And Missio embraced me in my weakest. And I wanted you to feel that and know that continued care happens today. So that friend that was feeding me the hoagie, she actually knew Dr. Dunbar. To her surprise, we both go to Church of the Savior in Wayne, PA. And she said, I know Dr. Dunbar. Ran up after class. They had a chat. And before I knew it, she calls me later and says, oh my gosh, those class notes and that material that we learned from Dr. Dunbar, I'd like to use that in a conversation I'm having with a new believer. So, God was at work in her. Then unbeknownst to me, we had a board member's wife, Mary Tilma, as a part of my congregation too, who drove me to class, and we had never met. She's also an alum. Then a gentleman who drove me a couple times was so convicted of the call on my life, of the solid seminary education at Missio, Biblical Missio, that he offered to pay for my entire 3-year degree. And that was something that was, wow, not even sure if my husband and I could accept such a gift. And once we felt that God said yes to that, that was also a yes to not only the seminary, but also to the calling. And at first I said, I don't want to accept that. I think I'm going to have to go through with this thing and get this degree because somebody else is believing that's God's will too. So many things have happened in my life. Again, that was only the first couple weeks of my experience. And in the last 3 years continues to be so formative. So I thank all of you for the shoulders that we are truly standing on. And Dr. Dunbar, I have a special gift for you that's going to cause a chuckle. Your other classmates might know this already about you, but I have a whole big bag of peanut M&Ms for you. I'm going to send as a thank you for you. I also, when I started the position, was in the basement of the Hatfield building in a student worker office. And I had a dispenser of peanut M&Ms. And every so often, Dr. Dunbar would come by and take a peanut M&M. But what he didn't realize is sometimes Paul Zazo would be in the office as well. And I was asking him these, probably to you, not very tough questions, but to me, very theological questions. And my one question when I first arrived was, what is Reformed anyway? And so the whole tulip conversation flourished, and Dr. Dunbar walks in and Paul Zazo says, oh, please help us with this conversation. So as a thank you to you, Dr. Dunbar, I'll be sending those to you. So thank you so much for your time today. You're all precious and so grateful for each one of you.